In this demonstration video, I'm going to show you how to use your Tribe One RackNet. Now the RackNet's a great solution for anything with a rack or D-rings, such as an ATV rack, side-by-side, or any kind of utility vehicle, anything that has D-rings like a paddleboard, canoe, or kayak. There's really all kinds of different ways that you can use the RackNet, so we're going to go over a couple different ways. The unique thing about the RackNet is that it can be used on a 4-point connection system or expand out to 6 points of connection. And a little bit later in the video, I'll show you what I mean by that. So let's go ahead and get started. We're going to rack down this tote on this object here. We've got 4 D-rings to connect it to. So let's get started. In this part of the demonstration, I'm going to show you how to configure the RackNet in a 4-point configuration using a 4-point D-ring system. Now I say 4-point because the RackNet can actually connect at 6 points, and a little bit later in the video I'll show you how to do that. What I'm also going to show you how to do a little bit later in the video is how to use the RackNet on a traditional bar style rack, like something you might find on an ATV. Okay, so let's get started. Once you've got the RackNet out of its packaging, you're going to want to take the 6 carabiners it comes with and hook them up to the 6 loops on the RackNet. As you can see, I have 2 loops on this end and 4 on this end. Once your carabiners are hooked on, take the end that has the 2 hubs and just start to separate those a little bit and pull some of that cord out so I have a little bit more room to work with. Then I'm going to take the carabiner and hook up each carabiner on this side to the 2 D-rings. What I'm going to do next is take the hub that I got on top here, and I'm just going to kind of pull the cord that's with it and lay it off to the side to kind of get it out of the way as I'm working with this half of the net. I like to take my hub and kind of put it to the edge of the object that I'm holding. So then you take the 2 remaining carabiners that are sitting up here and you go ahead and connect those to the opposite D-rings. Now there you have it, you have 1/2 of the net connected. Okay, so the next step is to take the other half of the net and finish connecting it. What I like to do is I like to bring that hub up just a little bit as I pull the carabiners over and hook to the same D-rings that we just hooked to. Once I've got it there, again, I slide my hub to the edge of the object I'm holding. I kind of pull the cord off to the side here so I have this nice symmetrical X. And there you go. You've got a 4-point connection that holds that gear nice and tight. Now, one of the benefits of the RackNet is its ease of use in getting to your gear. So if you're holding something like a tote or an ice chest, what's really nice is that these hubs slide and move, allowing you to change the angle of configuration of the net, as well as get in and out of your gear without undoing any of the tightening points. This makes it a little bit safer to get into your gear and a lot quicker. Once you get into your gear and you're ready to secure it back up, you simply just grab that cord, bring it back up, slide the hub back up to the edge. Do that on both sides. And now I'm back where I started in the 4-point configuration. Now let's say that you want to add a little bit of tension to this really quickly and easily. The hubs also allow you to do that. The way you do that is by simply twisting the hub around as many times as you feel is necessary to tighten that load down just a little bit. And you can do that on both sides. So now you're doubling that pressure down. And once you've got those things down and twisted, even if you're on a real rocky road or trail, they're not going to pop up and spin on you because of the angle of the net and the way that it's pulling in against the object that you're holding. To undo those, the best way is to just kind of brace the hub with your thumb, kind of lift up and let that thing unspin. And there you go, you're back to the 4-point configuration. Okay, so next part of the video, I'm going to show you guys how to take the net into a 6-point configuration. One thing to keep in mind is there's a bunch of different ways to connect the RackNet system. And we've got other videos in the video section of our website that show that. But for now, we're just kind of showing you the most convenient and easy way to connect the RackNet. All right, let's go ahead and connect it to an ATV rack. All right, guys. What I've got here is an ATV rack, pretty standard rack. I'm going to show you how to hook the RackNet up into a 6-point configuration. What you want to do is start with the 2-loop part of the RackNet and slide your hubs about halfway down. And then you can hook this up any number of ways. The way I like to do it is to start in the middle. So I take the one side of the loop and carabiner, and I'm just going to come around the bar, and I'm going to hook right back to the cord. So I'm going to run the cord through the carabiner. I'm going to do the same thing here, just loop around the bar and hook it back to the cordage. And of course I'm going to do the same thing on the other end, but this time I'm going to separate them out and just depending on the size of your rack, I know with this one, I want to come around it twice, so I'm going to loop around it twice and hook back to the carabiner, draw some of the tension out there. Same thing on this end, come around twice, hook there. I'm going to duplicate that on the other side. And as you can imagine, a simple way to draw slack out of the system is just to wrap that bar a few more times if you need to. Let's do the last one here. Okay, now I've got my RackNet hooked up to the rack. You can see that it's connected in 6 points along the rack, so this is how it differs from the 4-point system. Now I'm going to go ahead and put some gear in it. One of the really cool things about the RackNet in its 6-point configuration is it allows you to hold different sizes of gear and multiple pieces of gear real easily while still allowing access to it. So let's go ahead and put a couple pieces of gear on the rack. The way I like to start is I take the hub and I slide it all the way to the edges so that I have more room to work with. And on this side, I'm going to go ahead and just put a pack on there. So I lay the pack down, I bring my cord up and around the pack, get it to the position you want, and then slide that hub to center of your object. Now you see I've got a nice X configuration. It's holding it on there nice and tight. And one thing I like to do once I get that first piece of gear in is actually make sure that my center point of the RackNet is at the center of the rack itself. This just allows for a more balanced system. So let's go ahead and put on the other piece of gear. In this case, I'm going to use a water jug. So I'm going to place it in there. Again, bring my cords around, center it up, bring my hub over to center. And now you can see I've got 2 pieces of gear and they're uneven in their elevation, but the RackNet can definitely handle that. If I wanted to draw a little bit of tension this way on the jug, I just slide that hub over to the edge. There I can tighten down by rotating the hub. But like in the 4-point system, there's another way to tighten it down. What you want to do is undo your carabiner, draw your slack out, and bring that carabiner right up to the hub. Now obviously I can do this in all 4 outside edges of the RackNet. If I want to get gear out, it's simple. Just like with the 4-point system, you slide your hub off center, bring your cord down, pull your object out. Once again, you don't have to mess with the connection points of the cord, so it's always going to be attached to your rack, so you don't have to worry about misplacing it or taking it off and on. Put this piece of gear back in here. Slide my hub to center. Alright, there you go. That's a basic demonstration on how to use the Tribe One RackNet.